Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
The Bold and the Beautiful recap is eventually in for Wednesday, October 29, 2025. In Moment's occasion, Steffi Forrester Finnegan questions a uncommunicative Taylor Hayes. Meanwhile, Bill Spencer decides there needs to be a change in how he leads at the office. Also, Deacon Sharp makes a bold move. Bill Spencer's joy at work. Liam Spencer shares his engagement news with Bill and Will Spencer. Bill is impressed that his son got his family back so snappily. Liam explains that he can't believe everything is just falling into place so fluently. Bill is agitated for Liam's future. The man adds that he hopes Spencer Publications becomes a reflection of Liam's positive changes. Spencer Publications changes. Cassie comes in talking about being nearer to closing the deal. Bill starts to rant, but Liam clears his throat. Bill changes his tune and says Cassie should end stress. As Cassie looks dumbfounded, Bill encourages her to spend further time with her family. After Cassie leaves, Liam is so proud of his pater. Bill realizes there are more important effects than plutocrat, similar as family. Bill pushes his son to go see Hope Logan. Hope Logan's prompting at Il Giardino, Deacon and Deke Sharp compliment Hope on her engagement. The Golden addresses about fresh thresholds and suggests her pater can have one too. Has he considered life without Sheila Carter Sharp? Cleric wishes they would stop fussing about him. The man says he still loves Sheila and everything is unknown right now. The kiddies suppose Taylor can help him with that. Liam Spencer's engagement festivity. The Bold and the Beautiful recap reveals that latterly, Liam and Hope meet at Forrester Creations. They hope the marriage will hoist their families as long as Sheila doesn't show up. Hope wants her father to be with someone slightly less psychotic or with further toes. Steffi Forrester Finnegan's curiosity at the Precipice House. Steffi can tell her mama is allowing about a case. There's further to life than work and grandkids. Steffi's upset about Taylor. The mama would rather be alone than on the ground roller coaster again. Taylor doesn't suppose she'll be alone ever. Steffi prodigies if her mama is open to being with someone new. Deacon Sharp's special request. Steffi remembers she has a meeting and spurts out. Cleric textbooks and asks to meet Taylor. They should bandy what happened. Taylor smiles as she tells Cleric to meet her at the office right down. When they hang up, both rush to meet each other. In the world of the Bold and the Beautiful, few things are as potent as a paternity secret. For weeks, the narrative had been carefully constructing a delicate house of cards, with the truth about Luna Nozawa's unborn child serving as the foundation. The prevailing assumption, fueled by circumstantial evidence and a single night of passion, was that the father was R.J. Forrester. Luna and R.J., young and deeply in love, had embraced this narrative. They saw a future together, a family built on their affection and the support of their powerful families, the Forresters and the Logans. However, Luna carried a heavy, shameful secret. The night she and R.J. first consummated their relationship, she had, in a moment of extreme anxiety and confusion, taken several of her mother Poppy's special mints. Unbeknownst to her, these mints were laced with a powerful psychoactive drug. In her altered state, her memory of the evening became a fragmented, blurry haze. She remembered being with R.J., but the edges of the memory were soft and uncertain. A deep, nagging doubt had taken root in her soul, a whisper that perhaps the sequence of events wasn't as clear as she wanted to believe. This secret festered beneath the surface of her seemingly perfect relationship. R.J., pure-hearted and trusting, never doubted his paternity for a second. His parents, Ridge and Brooke, while initially concerned about the speed of the situation, had come around, offering encouraging words and a safety net of unconditional support. Brooke, in particular, became a pillar for Luna, assuring her that she was welcomed into the family and that they would all navigate the pregnancy together. These were the encouraging words, the lifelines that kept Luna afloat in her sea of private terror. The wild card, the chaotic variable in this equation, was always Bill Spencer. His obsession with Poppy had reignited, and with it, a possessiveness that extended to the idea of a family. He saw Luna's pregnancy not just as a dramatic event, but as a direct threat to his desired future with Poppy. Convinced that RJ was a reckless boy who had destabilized their lives, Bill's disdain for the Forresters fueled a burning need to protect Poppy and Luna, even from themselves. The crack in the facade, a whisper of doubt becomes a shout. The house of cards began to tremble when Bill, ever the master manipulator and investigator, started piecing together timelines. His suspicions were first aroused by Poppy's erratic behavior. She was overly defensive, quick to shut down any line of questioning about the night in question. Bill, whose love often manifests as control, couldn't let it go. He started asking questions others hadn't thought to ask. He confronted Luna, not with anger at first, but with a pointed, lawyerly precision. He asked her to walk him through the evening, hour by hour. Under his intense gaze, Luna's confidence crumbled. She admitted to taking the mints. She confessed the memory was like a dream, a beautiful, but foggy, dream. This was the crack Bill needed. A foggy memory was an unreliable memory. If her recollection of the intimate details was impaired, how could she be certain of the partner? Bill's mind, sharp and ruthless, began connecting disparate dots. He remembered his own encounter with Luna that very same night. He had found her disoriented and distressed in the Forrester mansion. In what he believed was a comforting, paternal gesture, he had held her. The hug was brief, but in Luna's drugged state, could the lines have blurred? Was it possible? The idea seemed ludicrous at first, but the more he considered the altered state of her perception, the more a terrifying, alternate timeline began to form in his mind. He took his suspicions to Poppy, and her reaction was all the confirmation he needed. Instead of laughing off the absurdity, she was gripped by pure panic. Her face went white, her words became a frantic, jumbled denial. She begged Bill to drop it, to just let RJ be the father. "It's better this way, Bill. It's cleaner," she pleaded. But for Bill, there was no peace in a convenient lie. The truth, no matter how destructive, was the only currency he valued. The confrontation, unearthing an inconceivable truth. The confrontation between Bill and Poppy was a masterclass in escalating tension. It began in his office at Spencer Publications, a room that had witnessed countless corporate takedowns and now served as the arena for a personal bombshell. "Tell me the truth, Poppy," Bill demanded, his voice a low, dangerous rumble. "I saw her that night. She was out of it. She didn't even know where she was." "What aren't you telling me?" Poppy, cornered and trembling, tried every deflection. "It was RJ. It was always RJ. Why can't you just accept that?" "Because the math doesn't work, Poppy." Bill shot back, slamming his hand on the desk. "And because you're lying to me. I can see it in your eyes. You're not scared for Luna, you're terrified of me knowing." "Why?" The argument raged, moving from his office to the Cliff House, filled with angry threats and desperate pleas. Bill threatened to get a DNA test himself, to go to Ridge and Brook and expose the entire sordid story. He threatened to use all of his resources and influence to tear their comfortable lie to shreds. Finally, broken and sobbing, Poppy collapsed. The weight of the secret was too heavy to bear alone. "You don't understand," she wept. "It would ruin everything." "Say it, Poppy," Bill pressed, his voice softening to a terrifying calm. "Who is the father of Luna's baby?" The words that left Poppy's lips were barely a whisper, but they echoed in the room like a gunshot. "It's you, Bill. You're the father." The world stopped. Bill Spencer, the man of steel and swagger, was rendered speechless. The angry threats died in his throat. The confident investigator was gone, replaced by a man blindsided by a truth he had theoretically pursued but never truly believed. The pieces snapped into place with brutal, horrifying clarity. The drugged mints, the foggy memory, the misplaced hug, in Luna's altered reality, a moment of confused, paternal comfort had been misinterpreted as an intimate encounter with RJ. The aftermath, a new world order of encouragement and wrath. The revelation split Bill's world, and by extension the world of everyone involved, into two distinct realities, one of possessive, terrifying encouragement, and another of unbridled, vengeful wrath. The encouraging words of Bill Spencer. Bill's reaction was not one of horror or rejection. Instead, a dark, possessive pride took hold. This child was a Spencer. His heir. This wasn't a complication, it was destiny. He immediately shifted from adversary to what he perceived as a protector. He went to Luna, but this time, his demeanor was radically different. The aggressive interrogator was replaced by a man speaking with an unnerving, saccharine certainty. "Luna, I know you're confused," he would say, his voice dripping with a forced calm. "But you don't have to be afraid anymore. I know the truth. And the truth is that this baby is a Spencer. My child. And that means you are under my protection now." His words were framed as encouragement, but they felt like a prison sentence to Luna. "You won't have to worry about anything ever again," he promised. "The best doctors, the best care, a future of luxury and privilege. This child will want for nothing. You have no idea what a gift this is. This is the Spencer legacy." He painted a picture of a powerful dynasty, positioning himself not as a co-parent, but as a benefactor. He encouraged her to lean on him, to trust him, to see this not as a catastrophe but as her greatest opportunity. This encouragement was devoid of warmth, it was a corporate takeover of her life and her unborn child's future. He was building her a gilded cage, all while smiling and telling her it was a palace. The angry threats unleashed. If his tone with Luna was chillingly supportive, his posture towards the Forresters and RJ became one of unadulterated warfare. The moment he solidified the truth, he confronted Ridge and Brooke. "The game has changed, Forrester," he snarled, his eyes blazing with triumphalist fury. "That baby Luna is carrying? It's not your grandson. It's not an heir to your precious Forrester legacy. It's mine. A Spencer. So, you can tell RJ to back off. He is to stay away from Luna and away from my child." The threats came fast and brutal. He threatened to sue for full custody, leveraging his immense wealth to paint the Forresters as an unstable, dramatic family unfit to be near the mother of his child. He threatened to go public with a story that would humiliate them, suggesting RJ had taken advantage of a vulnerable, intoxicated young woman. The most venomous threats, however, were reserved for RJ personally. Bill cornered the young man, his body radiating menace. "This is your one and only warning, kid," Bill hissed, jabbing a finger in RJ's chest. "You stay away from her. Your little fairy tale is over. She is the mother of my child, and if I so much as see you look in her direction, I will destroy you. I will bury you and your family so deep you'll wish you never heard the name Forrester. Do you understand me?" The contrast was stark and terrifying. To Luna, he was the benevolent, all-powerful provider. To the Forresters, he was a vengeful god, ready to rain down fire and brimstone to claim what he now believed was his. The emotional fallout, shattered dreams and forged resolve. The human cost of Bill's discovery was immediate and devastating. Luna was plunged into her worst nightmare. The truth was more shocking and horrifying than she could have ever imagined. The memory she had clung to was a drug-induced illusion. The father of her child was not her beloved boyfriend, but his father's arch-rival, a man she found intimidating and frightening. She was consumed by a toxic cocktail of shame, guilt, and fear. The encouraging words from Brooke now felt like a painful echo of a life she had lost. Her world had been utterly shattered. RJ was heartbroken and enraged. The foundation of his relationship had been proven to be a lie. Beyond his own pain, he was furious on Luna's behalf. He saw Bill not as a protector, but as a predator, using this shocking truth to control and manipulate the woman he loved. Bill's threats only steeled his resolve. He loved Luna, and he was determined to stand by her, not as the father of her child, but as her partner and protector against Bill Spencer himself. Poppy was trapped in a hell of her own making. Her secret was out, and it had unleashed a monster. She watched in horror as Bill began his campaign of claiming her daughter. Her initial lies had been meant to prevent this exact scenario, and now it was unfolding in the most destructive way possible. She was torn between her fear of Bill and her maternal need to save Luna from his clutches. The Forresters closed ranks. Ridge's animosity towards Bill, a constant in their lives, was now white-hot. Brooke's maternal instincts went into overdrive, not just for RJ, but for Luna, whom she saw as another young woman being victimized by a Spencer man's ego. The encouraging words they had once offered about a happy future were replaced by strategic planning and a unified front against a common enemy. In the end, Bill's discovery of the paternity did not bring clarity or peace, it ignited a war. The battlefield was Luna's womb, and the soldiers were armed with promises that sounded like threats and a love that curdled into possession. The words spoken in the aftermath, the encouraging ones from Bill and the openly angry threats, were not about building a future, but about claiming a prize. The story was no longer about a young couple's unexpected pregnancy, it was a primal struggle over legacy, power, and the terrifying consequences of a truth that should have perhaps remained hidden.